Good afternoon, folks. This is Steve A, and this is A Voice in the City. And I'm broadcasting from Chicago. Today, I wanted to talk to you about relationships, relationship building in the church, and I wanted to talk a little bit about families and getting together. And I want to talk about a lot of various things, but I want to use this as an example. Do you remember turning on the TV? Maybe it was in the 70s or 80s, and you saw these so-called family-oriented shows. One was called Happy Days, and then another show which I used to watch a lot. It was called Growing Pains, and it was with a mom and a dad, and it was kids that they sat on a couch and they all got together and they talked, and nobody was on their phones or doing any of those certain things, and they lived in this big house. And even at the time, it seemed to be very unrealistic that people live like that. And I'll be the first to admit, as a child of the 1980s, it was very unrealistic. I mean, shows like Growing Pains, there was nobody that I knew that actually lived like that. At least that there were very few people out there that lived a life like that, that lived in a house like that, where there were families getting together. Maybe there were, but it was very few, and it was very, or maybe it's just we didn't see it. But at the time, I don't remember it. It wasn't very realistic at that time, and it wasn't very realistic now. But how many families today even get together? We're living in a world where we're just so disconnected now, with families are drifting apart. And even in the churches, people don't, everybody's just seem to be so disconnected. And the only time you see your family, or what you call a church family, you only see them on Sunday morning. And that's not the way a family is supposed to be, or at least a church family. You're supposed to be spending time together. You're supposed to get a chance to know each other. So, I understand. I'm just trying to gather my notes together here, but we live in we certainly we live in a very complicated world. We all have busy lives. You understand? Some of us have kids, some of us are single moms, and we're just living a life that is so insanely busy. And we don't seem to be, even just maybe for 10 to 20 minutes, and even on Sunday morning, just giving at least 10 to 20 minutes for God. We seem to be so busy with our lives and with all of our cliques and all of our friends. We're not at least giving at least 10 to 20 minutes per day. We should be doing this during the week. You should be at least getting up in the morning, maybe 20 to 30 minutes a day, giving time to God, and not just doing it on Sunday morning. And so we live in a world that we have this point of view out there, and that we certainly live in a very limited point of view, and and it's very limited, and it's not necessarily the same world that God wants for us. But I'm just take a look at this verse called Isaiah 55. It's 8 through 9, and it says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts." So God's point of view is very wide, while our point of view is probably very limited. It's like this: we perceive the world in what the way we see it, but God sees the big picture, and God knows what's best for you. And so here's the challenge. Here's the challenge I have for everybody. What is your plan to deepen your faith this year or the coming year? What's your plan, and how do we get there? what are the things that God has given us? One of the challenges in life is that keeps us from making commitments that lead to a better future is that we're all so busy and we're not paying attention. We're not getting in the Word, and we're not focusing on what God has plans for us. So here's the thing. What is the plan? What is the plan? And the plan that I think is found in community and with other people and with other believers. And that includes the church. So it's found in friendships, it's found in making a commitment to live life together and not just to sit in circles and not just play church on Sunday. I mean, doing something that is meaningful and that is actually going to be fulfilling for you and for the people that are around you. Um, we are all built to live life together. We are here to live life to its fullest and not to just listen to a sermon or play religion on Sunday morning. Live the life to its fullest. It's the life that God wants for us, and at least living to his point of view. So here's the truth about church. The church only becomes a church or your church when you invest in relationships. That's true in any church you go to, whether it be a synagogue or even possibly in life. So I just want to make this statement because I don't want anybody to misunderstand me, that it isn't up to the church to provide community. To provide community, you have to be willing to make that commitment. You have to be willing to build the community. It is up to you to do the investing. You should be doing your part when you're going to a church on Sunday morning. And you also should not be expecting that people are just going to come to you and just want to be your friend right away. And you may not have friendships that are going to last you forever. It might be a year, but your goal is you have to be willing to put in the time and put in the time and the effort, and to be able to build those relationships. Everything you do in life requires work, whether it be in the workplace, whatever relationships. If you're going to go out on a date with somebody, if you're dating, that takes work. Um, if you're going to build a good relationships, anything you do in life is going to take work, and you have to be willing to take the time. You have to be willing to make the commitment. So and what it is a commitment is the commitment should be is to live life together, and to live life together with other believers, finding your people through the relationships you make, and make it not just a church, and not just a church, but your church. So that should be the goal, a commitment to live life together, to live the life that God wants for you. Live life to the fullest, and by finding the people you surround yourself with. And also, it is your commitment. It should be your commitment to see the value in other people. And if you're in a church and there's somebody new, introduce yourself, say hello to them, sit next to them. There are people out there that are struggling. There are people out there that are struggling with alcohol. There's people out there are struggling with addiction. And it is your commitment as a church to look for the signs and to look for these people, and to make sure they get in a program. There are so many people that I encounter. There's so many people out there that are struggling with addiction. They're struggling with mental illness, or maybe they have a porn addiction or whatever it is. And a lot of our churches today don't seem to be equipped to deal with all these types of people. And everybody out there comes from all walks of life. And it's really hard to find people out there that really understand you and the situation you're in. So that is why it is very important for you to find not just a church to go to, but find a church that you like, and find a church where you can build types of relationships, because it doesn't matter how good the preaching is, it doesn't matter how good the singing is, or whatever programs they have. And the question I would have for you is that, why do you go to this church? Why do I go to my particular place? Like, why do I work where I work? Why do you go to the church that you go to every week? And maybe this preaching isn't very good. Maybe the music is good. But there's obviously a reason why you go. It's because you like the people that are there. You like the community that you build. So I mean, everybody goes to church. Everybody goes to church for one particular reason, but you go to the church because you like where you're going, and that should be the most important thing. So, well, that's just pretty much what I wanted to say today. So I just think number one is set a goal, set a detailed plan, whether it be this year or is this year, or whether it be next year. Your next year is just finding out what God wants for you. Looking for those friendships, investing in relationships, investing in the time, and not being too overly pushy, but give everything time. But I mean, it goes on both sides. I mean, you have to be willing to make the commitment to reach out to other people. And for those on the other side, it is your commitment to, if you want to have people coming to your church, then you have to be willing to be able to reach out and become their friend and try to get to know them. So it basically goes both ways. So we have to do our part, and you have to do your part. So it goes both ways. So I mean, we're all here on this earth, and we all have to be making a commitment, and at least making time for God. And most importantly, you can't just community doesn't just begin in the church, and it shouldn't be just in the church, and it shouldn't be on Sunday morning. It should be during the week. I mean, living life as a Christian is not easy, and it's something that you have to be doing every day, and not just be doing once a week. So this is Steve A with a voice in the city. So that's all I wanted to say. So I will see you next time with another video. So bye bye.